Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session on Destination 5, Unlocking the Full Potential of New Tools, Technologies and Digital Solutions for Healthy Society. My name is Saila Rinne. I work as a Head of Sector for Policy in the DG Connect, which is the Directorate General for Communication Networks, Content and Technology. I have with me in this session 4 speakers answering questions on the 6 different topics we are going to cover this afternoon. These colleagues are from different other DGs. First of all, Szymon Bileski from DG Connect. Then we have Jérôme de Barros from DG Sante. Ana Burgos Gutierrez from HERA, and Christina Kyriakopoulou from DG RTD. I would like to say first a few words about this destination, just as a reminder. So we are talking about tools, technologies, digital solutions, and this destination aims at enhancing the capacity to collect, integrate and interpret large amounts of data, for example. It also wants to ensure compatibility with appropriate legislative frameworks such as the European Health Data Space. It also supports EU's readiness for health emergencies and has a strong focus on personalization of health technologies. When we look at the topics in 2023 under this destination, we have a large variety of different types of actions. We have, for example, to start with a topic on clinical trials of combined advanced therapy medicinal products. It's a research and innovation action with a total budget of 50 million euros and a project size of 8 to 10 million. Then we have a topic on virtual twins, so integrated multi-scale computational models of patient pathophysiology for personalized disease management. It's also a research and innovation action of 50 million budget and project size 8 to 10 million each. Then another research and innovation action about better integration and use of health-related real-world and research data, including genomics for improved clinical outcomes, with a total budget of 35 million and project size of 8 to 10 million as well. An innovation action of 35 million with project size 8 to 10 million each is about harnessing potential of real-time data analysis and secure point-of-care computing for the benefit of person-centered and care delivery. We have also 2 more topics under this destination in 2023 that we will see in the next slide. One is on pandemic preparedness and response. It's an innovation action, and it's about in vitro diagnostic devices to tackle cross-border health threats. The total budget of this topic is 40 million euros and the project size 5 to 7 million. Finally, a coordination and support action of 4 million. Developing a data quality and utility label for the European Health Data Space. So now I propose to move on to the specific questions that you have already asked or are about to ask, and of course to remind you that it's good if you have a look at the pre-recorded presentation video where all the topics are explained in more detail. And we are also going to cover in this session only questions related to these 6 topics of 2023. We are not covering topics of 24 or topics of or any subjects that are of horizontal nature that would apply to any topics across all destinations. So for the questions, let's start. Now I see also my colleagues joining. First of all, we have a question about the virtual twin topic. Is there a difference between virtual twin and digital twin as a concept? Because some websites say that the virtual twin would mean use of VR technology, which is of course, like if it's virtual reality technology, it probably means something different. So Christina, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Saila. And this is a very, very interesting and conceptual question. In principle, this is a term that is developed more recently. So you can see that in the past, in the few years, you can maybe see digital twin, human twins, or virtual human twins to be interchangeably used. However, in life sciences, in medicine, we are the digital twin. It provides a simple picture of the digital representation of a physical object or a human. However, the virtual twin has a higher kind of, it's much higher concept. It has the integrative approach, the multi-scale approach, the systems level approach to accelerate also the design, simulate, or analyze data of a person. For example, we could imagine that we have the personal view of each person's unique heart and how we combine real world data in order to be able to simulate what will happen in the individual person in terms of disease or in terms of risk of disease. So the virtual twin, it's more into the concept of the human dimension. And actually, if you want to read the topic, this dynamic approach, multi-scale approach, is very emphasized. So basically, that's why we use the terminology virtual twin.
Thank you very much, Christina. Then we move on to the genomics topic. There's a question about the use of whole genome sequence data. So what does it mean in practice to have at least one of these use cases built on the use of the whole genome sequence data? Shimon, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Saila. So the idea of this topic is to integrate different types of data and also to include application in different disease areas. There's for genomics, there's a particular focus and particular interest. So this means that while you can choose as a project, a consortium, you can choose various groups of diseases and various types of data to be integrated for those use cases. At least one of those should be based on whole genome sequences. So genomics in the form of whole genome sequences has to be used for one of the use cases. At least one.
Yes, thank you very much, Shimon. And in fact, the next question is also about about genomics. So we are talking about whole genome analysis. So does the term genomics refer to whole genome analysis, or could it be a few genotypes? And should genomics be addressed compulsorily? Like, is it compulsory to address genomics under this topic?
Yes, it is compulsory to address genomics under this topic for at least one of the use cases. Other use cases could be based on other types of data. While genomics is quite a broad term, so it could include whole genomes, it could include whole exons, genotypes, panels, and so on. For this topic, we expect and we request the project, the proposals to include whole genome sequences. So at least one of those use cases should use genomics in the form of whole genomes.
Thank you very much. Then the next question I see is going to Christina again. It's about commenting on groups of communicable and or non-communicable diseases with common communalities within the same or across different medical domains. So this question asks to clarify this bit of text in the topic.
Yes. So there are different medical domains in the normal in the medicine world. So when we say group of diseases with commonalities, one could imagine several examples. For example, neurological diseases. There are several groups of neurological diseases or metabolic diseases or inflammatory diseases. So this depends on the different medical areas.
The other questions on the slide.
Depends on the objectives of the proposal and how each proposal will address the specific topic. The groups of diseases that are chosen in order to justify the value of developing a virtual twin approach to address specific challenges on personalized medicine approaches using the virtual twin. So it's up to the applicants to define what is the relevant groups of diseases, which is of relevance to the topic, and where the technology or the development of virtual twin approaches can provide solutions to different challenges in that diseases.
Thank you very much, Christina. I don't see the other questions on my side in Slido on the screen. Do the other speakers see the other questions? If you do, I would maybe kindly ask you to pick up and read the question and answer. Okay, then now I see that there is a question about health-related real-world data. Does it refer to clinical data routinely collected in hospitals, or is it broader? This is for the topic of Shimon.
The concept is broader. So the data collected by hospitals form part of this concept of real-world data, but it could also include big data related to health and other types of data, electronic health records as well.
Thank you. Then again, I see only questions that we have already answered on the screen. Then we have one on omics. To what degree has omics to be included? The text is talking about personalized medicine. This term is often related to omics, and this topic is, or question is again to Christina. Over to you.
Yes. This personalized medicine very frequently is related to individuals' patient data taken into account in order to assess the risk for a disease, personalized risk or personalized management of disease. So in that perspective, since the molecular data or individual person's data, since we are focusing on the virtual twins models, which is dynamic multiscale models of pathophysiological conditions of the person, it can be very much fit also to the concept of this topic. Depends on the models, on the diseases that are chosen, and the data that are needed and necessary to develop or to validate these robust models, among which omics could be also one type of data. Yes.
Thank you very much. And next we go back to Shimon. The question is about exemplified in several use cases. So would groups of diseases, for example, dementia, which is encompasses several diseases, be seen as such a use case, or should the project target many groups of diseases? So what is this, the approach here, or what are the options? Shimon, over to you.
In principle, these are two questions. The first question I see is whether dementia could be a group of, could be understood as a group of diseases. So indeed, the question mentions a few diseases that relate to dementia, and we can put diseases in a group in such a way so that there could be diseases related to dementia as a group. There could be also neurological disease put in a group. However, and this is the second question, we need several groups of diseases in a project. So indeed, it's not sufficient to propose one group.
Thank you very much. And we stay with Shimon. Next question. The topic talks about linking real-world and clinical research data. Does clinical research data here include existing open source medical data sets or not?
Yes, so such existing data sets could be reused for the purposes of this project. The question whether this is research or healthcare, it's a different question, but existing data can be reused.
Thank you. Next question is about the virtual twin topic again. So to Christina, it's about expected outcomes. Should the grant address all or several outcomes? There seems to be a conflict between the text and the recorded presentation. So it's good that this came up, because just to remind everyone that if ever there's a discrepancy, it's always the work program text which is legally binding and the one to be followed. But I give over to you, Christina, to comment on this specific case.
Thank you very much. As Saila just mentioned, in the work program, which is the official document describing the topic, it is mentioned several. Also in the participant, several outcomes should be addressed as relevant to the specific objectives of a proposal under this topic. And if one looks also at the participant portal, where you can see all the documents, the relevant documents or the templates, and there also it's mentioned as it is in the legal test, several. So it is several, yes.
Thank you. And perhaps to add that you always have in a topic text, you have two parts. You have the expected outcome and then the scope, which also often has a list of bullet points. So you have two occasions where you may have all or several. So not to mix the expected outcome and the scope and expected activities to be covered. So these two parts to be also sort of kept apart when you read the topic text. Then we stay with your topic, Christina. The question is about, sorry, I lost a bit. Now I lost, I think the question disappeared. It was about patient and citizen access. What does it really mean by what is meant by citizens and patients have access? It's a very specific point under the topic. Yes.
Yes, I have to specifically see this point. In general, this is a multidisciplinary approach in this development of the very complex and models that can be used for personalized prediction on specific diseases or disease modeling mechanism simulation, the end users also it is is a very important dimension, and end users can be clinicians or medical doctors that maybe use these tools, technologies in a real setting. It can be also the people that are for which are used, the citizens, the patients. So this multidisciplinary approach in new technologies, which are have not been sufficiently accepted yet, and there is a complexity, all the views in order to build the relevant models are necessary. So in that perspective is also this justifies the multidisciplinary dimension. If I try to reply carefully this question, and I think this is in the general concept of the multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholders involved in this ambitious development of such models.
Thank you. In fact, I see a more precisely formulated question, which is which sort of makes it more precise. Could you provide examples of the outcome citizens and patients have access to validated virtual twin models? So I guess this is the same.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yes. Now this refers to the expected outcomes. So expected outcomes, it is related to the pathway of the impact, related to how the results of the projects will lead gradually at the end of the projects or in short or medium term to important tools and technologies that are useful for the end users. One of the end users can be citizens, as it is in one bullet points. This means that they can benefit from these advanced models by using the integration of the personal data and other of their data to benefit for the prediction of the disease progression. So it's really mentioning the different end user communities that can benefit from these results of the tools developed under the scope of the projects. And one of the communities is citizens and patients, which can benefit of these tools.
Thank you very much. This is very clear now, I think. We have one question on the topic 01, which is on the advanced therapy medicinal products. This topic invites innovative treatments for any medical condition, excluding rare diseases. And the question is, are various cancer types, except for rare cancers, in scope of this topic? And the answer is that yes, they are. That's because they are not specifically excluded either, but of course it really depends on the specific proposal idea, how the different medical conditions are addressed by the proposers. I think we already covered the top. Did we cover the question on Christina's topic on group of diseases? Groups, yes. Then we have for the topic on point of care computing, do the proposals have to address all the required activities to the same extent? So under the scope, you have the required activities, and the topic text says that all of the activities mentioned under the scope need to be addressed, but at the same time, the way these activities are described in the topic text are rather open, so there are and or, and there are different options, and it gives examples. So the broad areas of activities under the scope, under the bullet points, all of them have to be addressed, but there is quite a lot of freedom for choosing the specific activities that fit best for the specific proposal. Then we have a question on the topic on data quality and utility label. So it goes to Jérôme, and it says, how does this topic support the European Health Data Space proposal? So Jérôme, over to you.
Thank you, Soila. So this topic contributes directly to the European data space as a whole. So obviously answering to the legislation, the proposed legislation that was submitted in May last year. So the legislation mentions that the Commission will specify parts of the proposal through implementing us. So we expect these projects to help us in this process, more specifically on the implementing act related to the data quality and utility label. So we'll have these two functions, let's just say, to develop the actual data quality label that will be used as part of the infrastructure, so have the ITU, the infrastructure for secondary use, but also support the Commission with the preparation of that implementing act.
Thank you very much, Jérôme. And we go back to the virtual twin topic. 2 questions. Would you please clarify the procedures, internal, phase 1, 2A, expected for the validation of multi-scale computational models? It's rather specific question, Christina.
Yes. So this topic relates to multidisciplinary, multi-scale models in order to simulate the pathophysiology of the individual patient across different scales, meaning from cell to cellular interactions, organ tissues, simulation, depending on the disease or the group of diseases, which is the choice of a particular proposal. The validation of these different topics depends very much on the types of modeling and at the multi-scale level that is used to build these models in the particular case. It has several, normally it has several levels. One needs to start from a model that is already has been simulated or validated on existing data, and then with iterative circles. So this means with new data from independent studies which are relevant to your model that we are building, you showcase the predictive capability if this model can simulate and answer the question that is intended to. So this means this gradual iterative process with relevant data in order to be able to make the model more robust so that its performance is answers or it is aligned or it is compatible to the clinical question that is the focus of the project. It is the normal process. Also, if you have seen in this topic, we have provided some footnotes about some helpful guidelines for standards for building some models which are relevant for personalized medicine. Some of these models may be relevant to this topic or not, and these are ISO recommendations which describes the process, the different steps of development of this model. So one can see the different steps of verification, validation, performance analysis, predictability, which are specificities of these models. We can have a look there also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christina. And in fact, we continue with your topic. There's the next question is about stakeholders. Mm-hmm. Is participation of stakeholders via focus groups considered sufficient, or should patient associations be part of the consortium? Again, a rather specific question. Christina?
Yes. For a multidisciplinary type of proposals, which is several types of call for proposals in health clusters, depending on the objectives of the proposal for addressing the particular scope, the consortium is free to select which are the beneficiaries or partners that would contribute to contribute to the tasks which are relevant to the proposed objectives. This means it can be associations representing a specific group of specific industries or specific patient interest group or civil groups or patient association if it's related to disease, or it can be also individual patients. It really depends on the content of the proposal. This is up to the applicants to decide which are the best the beneficiaries, which have the appropriate expertise to provide to deliver on the objectives of the proposals, addressing the scope of the project of the topic.
Yes, indeed. I fully agree with you, Christina, that this very much depends on the scope of the actual proposal. Then we have a question on the pandemic preparedness topic. It says that the proposals should address several of the listed areas under the scope, but not necessarily all of them. So is it better to have all areas covered or only few? So this goes to Anna.
Thank you, Saila, and many thanks for the question. It really depends on the proposal and what it is intended with the proposal in this case. So we don't have any preference really to address all of them, because in some cases, for example, it won't be possible to address the sampling methodologies, for example. It would be a proposal that is mainly focusing on the diagnostic capabilities of the product. So for us, the most important thing is that the outcome of these projects will really increase the pipeline of diagnostics. And for that reason, only one or two or three can be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anna. We go back to Christina. This virtual twin topic is very popular, I see. So the next question is about the consortium. So would it be advisable to include an HTA expert within the consortium? Christina, well, my answer would be that it depends on the proposal again, like the previous question.
So the question, if it's advisable to have a health technology assessment expert in the proposal, HTA, I understood. So exactly the same question. It depends on how the project or the proposal, the applicants are trying to address the scope of the topic, how they argue their case, how they select the partners, how they design their objectives and the deliverables to answer to this topic and to deliver the expected outcomes. So again, it has to be to argue. It has to have a justification about the choice of the consortium and the expertise to deliver on the objectives of a particular proposal.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Christina. We stay with your topic. Again, a rather specific question. Could you please clarify whether IT solutions for model visualization must be CE marked?
Okay, so this is a research and innovation project. So this means we are trying to optimize and to further develop robust and validate products. And of course, these models. In principle, this comes at a later stage, at the exploitation level of a research and innovation project. You develop a product and then you create a business plan for the exploitation to the market. However, it may depend. You might have to combine different types of model to build a virtual individual patient model for a disease, for a neurological disease, I say, or for a metabolic disease. So you maybe need to bring partners that they might have a CE already in the market, but then they need to combine with the research with additional components in order to optimize. And again, this is it may include a CE mark, but it's not a requirement. This is a research and innovation, and there is a development of these tools that at one point maybe go to the market.
Thank you very much, Christina. Then we have also a very specific question on the pandemic preparedness topic. Is it allowed to contact members of the JRC during the proposal phase, or would this generate a conflict of interest? To me, this question sounds like more like a horizontal one, which is not specifically related to this topic. Anna, do you agree, or do you have any comments?
I think that this reference on the Joint Research Center is included in the topic, but as you said, it might most likely apply to other calls, so nothing to say specifically.
Yes, indeed. So to double check the rules on these cases where Joint Research Center is specifically mentioned. Then a question on a topic on bioprinting of living cells for regenerative medicine. It says that only the calls with deadline in April 23 are shown, and this is indeed the case. So we are discussing in this session only the topics with the deadline on the 13th of April this year, and this topic on bioprinting will be in the next round of calls, opening in October this year and closing in April next year. So we are not discussing that topic in this session. Then we have two questions on the point of care topic. Do you expect to see a pool of different technologies or bring a single technology very close to the market? Here we are actually, if you look at the different type of activities mentioned under the scope, it is rather clear that we expect to have different technologies put together, because this topic is an innovation action which also has the aim of integration of technologies at the point of care. So that would be the answer for this question. Then when it says development and validation of imaging systems, could it be an imaging system already tested and implemented? If you look at the topic text, it talks about going from TRL level 3 to 4 up to TRL 7. So this is where we are with this. The aim. This is the aim under the innovation action. So it doesn't necessarily have to be. Well, it doesn't. It's not even expected to be an already existing tested and implemented system. It's really about developing novel new systems, developing and validating them in this framework of innovation action. Then another question on the pandemic preparedness topic about JRC. And again, we can only say what we just referred to. Again, JRC participation rules. We would kindly ask you to go back to the manuals and guidelines on the JRC participation, and colleagues dealing with horizontal questions are able to answer this. So we will refer this question to them and come back to it via a frequently asked question in the participant portal. Another question on the pandemic preparedness topic. Do we need to address all threats, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and pandemic preparedness in the same proposal? Anna?
Thank you, Saila. I think that that's very unlikely that is possible. So usually diagnostics are really specific to one disease or two pathogens, three pathogens, or three chemicals. So usually what we really want in this case is to ensure that the threats that have been considered as a priority by DG HERA, that are pathogens with pandemic potential, AMR, and CBRNs, will be covered in general by all proposals as a whole. But then each individual proposal, of course, if you can develop a multiplex diagnostic that can address three pathogens with pandemic potential, that would be great, but it would have the same value or similar value to diagnostics that would be, for example, targeting pandemic pathogen with pandemic potential for which there's no diagnostic at the moment. So as you would see in the text of the call, we are giving a lot of importance to gaps on diagnostics and also to those diagnostics that maybe have a suboptimal performance or where innovation is needed. So as a conclusion, we don't need to address absolutely all the threats, but every single proposal will have really a very specific outcome, and you should stick to what you really want to achieve. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anna. Then we go back to the genomics topic. I think this question was somehow already answered. It's about having genomics data as a mandatory part of the proposal. Is there any kind of advantage with respect to proposals regarding other health data? Shimon, would you like to add something?
Genomics is mentioned as one that is a mandatory element for one of the use cases. So there should be several use cases, and at least one of them should involve whole genome sequences as a type of data that will be integrated with other types of data. But if the proposal is submitted with several use cases, all of which propose the use of genomic data, it will not be an additional advantage because the minimum requirement is to have at least one use case involving genomics.
Thank you very much. Then a question on virtual twin topic and the concept of multi-organ approach. So what is expected under this approach? Is, for example, pancreas or lymphatic system considered multi-organ? Christina?
Yes, there is a general definition in medicine about the different organs in the body. So yes, in this case, it is the link. In this example, it's considered different organs connected, which are relevant to the particular disease or group of diseases, which are the study under the proposal. Yes, one has to justify and argue its case, its idea, concept in relevance to the topic. Yes. I don't know if it was, one cannot clearly reply because there are different organs, different combinations of organs, different disease, where different organs, cross-cutting disease, where common organs are affected and different pathways. So it really depends on the case of the content of each proposal and the concept.
Thank you. Then we have a question for genomics. Can an application to this call look at a rare disease, one that is considered a model to study brain disorders? So this was for the data and genomics topic. It's also rather specific. Shimon, any comments?
Yes. So rare diseases can also be included as a group of diseases.
Very good. Then a question on the point of care topic. When you talk about workflows in surgery, do you expect to cover pre to post? Again, depending on the proposal, there is no requirement. It says workflows in surgery. This would be really for the proposers considering what is going to be the expected outcome and what they want to achieve. It's for the proposers to decide what to cover in this respect. Then a question, this is for Shimon again. What are the intellectual property conditions of the technology solutions developed under the program? Is commercialization possible?
One of the conditions in the call and in the work program is that these tools, which will be an outcome of the project, should be open for others and should be reusable, should be amendable for further applications.
Thank you. Then we have a question which is about the point of care topic that, but I would kindly ask maybe Jérôme to comment on it, because it talks about links to the European Health Data Space infrastructure. So where do I find the details, technological details on the European Health Data Space infrastructure in order to align project activities with it? Jérôme, would you like to take this one?
Certainly. So when it comes to the technical details of the Habitat EU infrastructure, so the infrastructure for secondary use, these are being developed as part of the pilot project, which started in October this year and will run for 2 years. So we do not yet have those details, but they ought to be developed over the coming 2 years.
Yes, so there are activities like member states piloting activities of infrastructures. There is of course the ongoing proposal that the Commission has put forward, which is under discussion in the Council and the Parliament. We don't know the exact outcome of that proposal yet, but there are already some pilots going on which are mainly funded under the EU for Health program that you could have a look at and explore what is going on there in terms of pilots. Then we have a question for Christina. Is cancer in the scope of the call as a disease?
Yes, the call refers to generally to that the focus should be on multidisciplinary approaches on groups of communicable or non-communicable diseases. And so there is no exclusion of any type of disease.
Thank you very much. Then we have a question for Shimon. Who will have long-term access to the data? Will it go beyond the consortium or consortia?
I would say that in accordance with the call text and with the work program text, any new data sets, so any data sets generated for the purpose of this project should be accessible to researchers and innovators after the project end. This is what the call text says.
Thank you. Then we have a question for Anna. Which technology readiness level is required or intended for this call? Is quality management system possible to be implemented for achieving certifications? So this is about certifications.
Yeah, so as you will see in the possibilities to address different aspects of the proposal, this is really linked to proof of concept and proof of concept and early research. But the proposals would need to have a clear pathway to approval. So I think that from the point of view of the certification, that's not specifically linked to the development of the in vitro diagnostic device. If this is, well justified and included in the proposal, and it is very needed from that perspective, that is fine. But in principle, I would see quality assurance for a certification more linked to a more established and scale-up manufacturing capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Then a question which is perhaps related a bit to a previous one on point of care computing and real-time data analysis. Would multiple technologies validated reaching TRL7 and integrated but not validated be fit for the scope? The idea is that there would be advancement of state of the art and of the TRL level. So in that case, the advancement has already happened, although if there's no validation yet. So we are talking about development and validation of technologies. So I would caution the proposers to take this into account in their proposals. Then another question on the point of care technologies. Should all listed technologies be included? The more the better. I mentioned already earlier that the bullet points or example, there are a lot of examples and or options for proposers. So this is again a question that the proposers really need to consider and look at the objectives they want to reach. It's not about the more the better necessarily. So it's to have a meaningful set of technologies that will lead to the expected results that actually count. Then we have question for Christina, I see. What is meant by integrate standardized spatiotemporal multi-scale models? Are these to be developed in the project?
Yes. So this topic, multi-scale means across scales. So meaning across organs, across, as it's mentioned, across different organizational states in the cellular level, from the cell, tissue, organ, tissue organ interaction, or this depends again on the type of diseases or the groups, the use cases that are to be used after developing these models. And of course, this is a very complex, the virtual twin type of projects of models, which are patient relevant pathophysiology models. They are very complex. So this means there is a lot of development that is needed in order to develop robust models, which they can really predict the human condition in the relevant diseases. So indeed, the topic also aims also to the development, as it says in one of the bullet points in the scope, but also to the further validation in order to have this robust type of models and showcase their clinical utility.
Thank you very much, Christina. One more question about the group of diseases under your topic. So diseases can be completely different in order to validate the virtual twins for different cases. So is this what is meant, or can this be done under this topic?
As it is required in the topic, the focus could be on groups of diseases, communicable or non-communicable, across the same medical domains, as I mentioned earlier, some examples, or in different medical domains. So the latter case, exactly this question, can include diseases that are in different medical domains, and also that are necessary and argued in order to the applicants have to justify why this is relevant to build the relevant virtual twin topics in a comprehensive way. And this will be up to the experts to assess the quality of the particular proposal. So it's possible, of course, this type of groups of diseases. Yes.
Thank you very much, Christina. This has been a very active session. We are reaching the end of the session. We don't see any more questions. I thank the audience for excellent questions and also the panel of speakers for the great answers. It was a very interesting session and we really look forward to receiving high quality proposals and we wish good luck to the proposers. And we will continue 4:30, so 16:30 with Destination 6. Thank you very much.